try to make sure that I'm as clear as I can about what you need to do to be successful. But in a lot of ways, you got to take some ownership of your learning. Like, if you're not getting it, if your grades are terrible and you're not turning things in, well, something needs to change with that, right? And so you got to show that sort of fortitude, right? That like, okay, this is not going well. I need to change something. Okay. All right. I'm going to send weekly grade updates out today, as I always do on Monday. It's taking me a while today. I had a lot of grades to get done. So it will get done at some point today. So I had a lot that I was working on this weekend on some other things. So I will get caught up on that. You need to make sure you check your Canvas gradebook daily for missing work and zeros. And I put points attached to everything, so you know you got to do that. Target time Monday to Thursday, 12 to 12:45. And just know that there's always a certain way that I need the work to be shown. All right. And I'm not just making that up. That's legit how it needs to be done. And then also remember that I post a video for all of our practice. So if you get stuck on stuff, you can use that to help you out. And I would encourage you strongly to watch the video, the practice every day. All right. So last week we had a quiz. That should also say, and then we had a Unit 4 quiz 3. All right. And so 4 days of practice plus your Unit 4 quiz 3. This week we have a unit test on Thursday. So get yourself caught up. I would get caught up before I take that unit test. Okay. So this is a bit of a lighter week in terms of work, because I'm not assigning any additional practice on Wednesday, other than we do the review in class and then we have a test Thursday. Okay. So I would make sure that I have gone over all the content, all the lessons, everything before you get to the test on Thursday. So you really need to try to catch up before that. All right. Okay. So we're going to work on a Nearpod today. Here's the Nearpod link is in the chat here. So if y'all get logged in there. All right. Again, I'll say the same thing I've said every time we've done this. There is a student pace version of this in the Canvas module, in case you get cut off or something like that. I've got to go back and look at those. I'll check those before I finalize the grades for the week today, and just make sure there's none that I've missed. People who did it late or something like that. All right. Any questions on that? All right. I'm going to switch over to my Nearpod here now. All right. So get yourself logged in. So we should be on. As soon as you get logged in, that's where we'll be. Okay. And again, look, there's still some of you who think that you're fooling someone by being here and not doing any work. You're not fooling anyone. Your grade is failing, right? You want to pass 6th grade this year, you got to actually do work, right? I mean, that's all there is to it. We don't have a magical grade fairy that's going to, give you the Trey. Look in the chat. I just posted it right there. It's in the chat. Yeah. So basically just saying you got to earn your passing grade, right? So get to work for some of y'all. Like, we're getting wee behind. Does anybody else got a question here? A lot of people I'm still waiting on. Don't want you behind on this. So again, the link is in the chat. Should have 17 people logged in if you are looking in the chat, and we do not have 17 people logged in. So you need to hurry up, because we got a lot to do. So what we need to work on, what we have remaining on this unit is, before we get to the unit test, is just a few more things with some substitutions with the order of operations and so forth, which I've gotten part of the way through the first few people's quizzes from on last Friday. And some of this, when you substitute in and then do the order of operations, some of y'all are getting off on that. And so I am going to certainly am aware of that. We'll be working on that some of the next couple of days. All right. So we're working on evaluating algebraic expressions for given values using input-output tables, okay? And using order of operations, exponents, and rational numbers with that. All right. So here's what I want you to see here. So this is what I want to work on today. All right. And so I'm going to show you my example first here. Okay. So we're basically going to take something like this. It says, given the values for X, the inputs. So if you think about that, don't make that too confusing. Input means what you put in, right? Okay. Input equals put in. So if you put in these values for X, what do you get out? Okay. Now, a lot of times this is written as input is X, output is Y. Don't really worry about the Y. Just think of that as being the answer for now. Okay. So here I've given you a list of inputs. You see the 0, 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 0 right here, the 1 here, the 2 here, and the 3 here. Okay. Now, the rule is what they sometimes call that. And that just means the expression. So I gave you the expression 4x plus 5. See right there. Okay. So that's the part that goes here. Now, watch what I've got here. I'm going to put 4x plus 5 right here. Now, I'm not actually using x, though. I'm using 0 for x. Why? Because that's the first one in the little bracket list, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the substitute, right? We took out the x, put in a 0. Okay, 4 times 0, 0 plus 5 is 5. Okay, so if you're like, well, how did you even do that? 4 times 0 is 0, right? Plus 5 is 5. Okay, so let's watch the next one. So 4x plus 5. We'll write it again right here because I want y'all to kind of see what I'm up to. Okay, so I'm telling you to put in the input, right? Put in 1 for x. Okay, so I'm going to take this right here, take that one out, and I'm going to put a 1 in right there. So we're going to do 4 times 1 is 4, plus 5 is 9. Okay? Okay, Hala, I got you. All right. Now, next one. So 4x plus 5. And I'm going to show you with the x every time here on this one, just because I want you to get used to what I'm doing. Because once you get used to what I'm doing, it's going to be like, well done. Okay, so we got the x here. We're going to substitute out the x, substitute in the 2. So that's what our x is. Where did I get that from? I listed these out right here. Okay, so 4 times 2, right? So 4 times 2 is 8 minus 5, or sorry, plus 5, not changing the expression, is 13. Now, if you're like, oh, I can see that one's going to be 17. Yeah, but just because I put 3 right here, what if I put a different number there? I could have put a different number. This could have been 10, which we'll see in just a minute. So then 4 times 3 is 12, plus 5 is 17. Okay, so any questions on what I'm asking you to do on this? Okay, anybody confused on that? All right, okay, so let's go to the next one here. And I think in the next one, I might have some that you're going to do. All right. When I annotate like that on these kind, it doesn't go away unless I erase it. So, all right, so here we go. All right, so now I want you doing the chart, okay? So, all right, what we're going to do first is we're going to take you see the little list of inputs, the x's, right? So the x's, the inputs, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I want you to list right here the 0, 1, 2, and 3 right there. Okay. Now, then we're going to put in these numbers in the expression. Now, if you already feel confident, okay, I could just go ahead and put 7 times 0 like this plus 2. That's fine. If you need to write the x and erase it, that's fine too. What's required is that you have this step right here, okay? You need, Aaliyah, you're saying you need the link again. There it is. All right. So then I'm going to talk through this. 7 times 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2. Okay. When you get to future grades, you will see this stuff a lot. That's why I'm trying to make sure you get how to do this. Okay. And this is stuff that you've seen some beginning version of before. So 7x plus 2, x is 1. Okay. Plus 2. So 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. Okay. If you're not ahead of me yet, go ahead and maybe get the next one in before I go over the rest of them. Let me see what we got going on here. Okay. Again, this is not super hard once you get it. It's just, you got to get it, right? And so this is one, if you follow the steps, it's kind of like, I think, basically like tying a shoe or riding a bike, right? You got to learn how to do it. Once you learn how to do it, it ain't bad. Okay. All right. So go back to mine here. Oh no, what did I do? Oh, there's mine. All right. So my next one, I got 7. I'm gonna fill in 2 for the x right there, right? Plus 2, because that was in the expression. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. So the reason I had you getting paper out is because you're going to probably get to the point where some of these you can't do in your head. Okay. All right. Then the third one, you got 7 times 3 plus 2. Okay. So 7 times 3 is 21, plus 2 is 23. All right. Okay. So that's how we do this. Okay. Now there's more you can do with that, but right now I'm just worried about you getting this particular step down. All right. Okay. Any questions on that? So again, when I'm looking at yours, right, later, when I'm seeing how much credit you get, that's what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking to see that you did this. All right. This is not some magical thing. It's that I want you, reason I have it on a Nearpod is I want you to do it just like that. Okay. And by practicing it that way, you're going to learn the process. Okay. About 10 more seconds if you need to finish up. Okay. Making yours look like that. All right. And by the way, I still have 12 people in here out of 18. That's 2/3. However, that means 6 of you apparently think that you're fooling someone by being logged on to Zoom, but you're not on Nearpod. I don't understand why you think that. It doesn't make sense. Okay. All right. Next one. Okay, so we got the values for x. If we got the 0, 1, 2, 3 again. Okay, so don't be fooled by this. It's not gonna be that every time, okay? So it's just that on this particular one, I'm starting with that so you can learn how to do it first. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So right, the 0, 1, 2, 3 right here. All right, I need to make that crayon a little less fat from me. All right, and then I'm gonna write in my expression. Again, once you get the hang of it, you can do this without writing the x's there. So I'm going to take the x out and put the 0 in right there. All right. 15. Okay, so here's a mistake right here. Sometimes some of y'all are still doing the order operations out of order. So you got parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide. So here, this means multiply. 2 times 0 is 0. 15 minus nothing is 15. Right? So once you do that 2 times 0, that's 15 minus 0. Right? Okay. That eraser is way too small. There we go. All right, next one. Again, right here, I'm just doing a good bit of like you follow kind of stuff on a lot of these because I really want you to learn this process. Okay, 15 minus 2 times 1. All right, order of operation says we got to do the 2 times 1 before we subtracted from 15. So 2 times 1 is 2, right? So we're going to do 15 minus 2. I would caution you against doing too much in your head and not writing that out, okay? Because once we get a little bit more into this, it'll get a lot harder. Okay, so 15 minus 2 is 13. All right. Okay, see if you can get the next one here. Take a look at your work on this one. Now, I do want you to be aware of this. I've said this already. That right column looks like there's some pattern going on there. And there only is because, like, there is a pattern, but it's not as simple as it's minus 2 over there. It's only minus 2 on the right because it's plus 1 on the left. Okay, so if I changed up what I was doing there, let me show you an example of what I'm saying. Okay, so those of y'all who are like, dude, I got this. It's just minus 2. That's going to be 11 and 9. Okay, well, what if this was 5? Okay, if this is 5 now, then that's 15 minus 2 times 5, right? 2 times 5 is 10. 15 minus 10 is 5. So that's minus 4 because this is plus 2. So what's happening here is that this changes to minus 2 for everyone. This is plus 1. So it's like minus 2 over 1. You put the y over the x. Okay, that's somewhere where you're going in 7th grade, not quite in 6th grade. All right. All right. Let me show you the last two here. So we got 15 minus, and then 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 15 minus 4 is 11. Then the last one is 15 minus 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 15 minus 6 is 9. All right. Questions on that one? Make sure yours looks like mine. Or like this one, right? Any questions? About 10 more seconds. I'm going to move on here. Okay. Any questions? Again, I'm not wanting to lose people, but I'm also not wanting to take forever. Okay. All right. Next one. Basically, as it is a lot of days, I've got kind of 2 days worth of skill practice I'm working on here. Okay. So we're starting with, I started you with some of the kind of simpler stuff, and then I'm going to go into some little more complicated ones. Okay. So that's kind of where, 2 days worth. Okay. That's kind of how I figured out we have to do this. All right. So we're going to, again, I'm giving you 0, 1, 2, 3. I don't have to do that. Okay. And the next couple slides, I'm going to change it up. All right. So here we're doing x to the third power. Okay. So 0 to the third power. 0 to the third power means 0 times 0 times 0, which equals 0. Okay. Now, I'm about to make a mistake on purpose here. I want you to tell me what my mistake is. Okay. So type in the chat what the mistake is, if you picked up on it. I made a mistake. Tell me in the chat. I want to know, you following me here, you should know what the mistake is. I actually did 1 times 3 is 3. So what's wrong with this? What should it be? Yeah, right, Trey. You do 1 times 1 times 1, right? So this one we got to be careful on here, where we got 1 to the third power, right? This is why I said you kind of need some scratch work over here. Well, that means 1 times 1 times 1. 1 times 1 is 1 times 1 is 1, right? No matter how many times you multiply 1 times itself, you're going to get 1, right? Now, 2 to the third power, okay, again, watch out. That's not 6, okay? So y'all go ahead and put your answers for the next two on here. Okay. Go ahead and put your next two on there. See if you got them. I will warn you, the next two answers are not 6 and 9. Neither one of them are 6 or 9. Let's see what we get in here. All right, you need to make sure that yours looks the same as I'm making it look in the middle here. All right. Okay, that works there. This right here, that's a no. Okay, because watch what I'm doing right here. What it needs to look like is that in the rule right here, you take out the X and put in the number. You're substituting here. The answer goes over here. Okay, the answer goes there. Okay, it's a very common type of problem. You got to be able to do it like this. Okay, I'm not making this whole idea up. So this person here, you need to fix that. Okay, like I don't got your name on there. I'm not embarrassing you. I'm just saying if that's yours, that's wrong. Okay, that's not how you do it. All right, the way you need to do it is like this. You got 2 goes in for X. 2 to the third power means 2 times 2 times 2. That's 8. 3 to the third power, not 9, is 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. Okay? So that's what we need that to look like. I'm probably being less strict than I need to by not making you write that part right there and there, but I'm trying just to kind of give you the idea, the basics of what you got to do here. All right? You got to do that. Okay? All right. Questions on that one? Okay. Now we have, all right, so we got some different inputs here. So now is where it's going to get annoying on the inputs, right? So now we got some rational number inputs. Okay. So go ahead and put your inputs, the X's right here, put those over in the X column. 0. We got 1/2. We got 1/4. And we got 0.2. Okay. All right. So what we got here is we're going to put in 0 for X. 0 squared plus 5. Okay, now on this one, you're probably good to do that in your head because 0 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. That's easy enough, right? Okay, now on the next one here, we're going to put in 1/2 right here for the X, okay? I'm going to put it like this. I think it's better in the parentheses. 1/2 to the second power plus 5 is exactly what I want you to write in right there. Then I would come over here and let's do the problem. So we got 1/2 times 1/2, because that's what 1/2 squared means, plus 5. Okay, now this type, some of y'all have had problems with last week. So 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so that should be 1/4. That's going to be too messy right there. So we got 1/4 for that. Okay, and then we're going to do 1/4, 1/4 plus 5. So that's going to be 5 plus 1/4, which is 5 and 1/4. Some of y'all who are messing around using calculators when you aren't supposed to be, keep giving me a decimal answer on a fraction problem. Okay, that just tells me you're not actually doing the work. That's why I keep taking points off. All right, because I'm not stupid. You ain't fooling me. Okay. So next one, we got 1/4 squared. Okay. 1/4 to the second power plus 5. Okay, so now we need to come down here and do that again. 1/4 times 1/4 plus 5. Okay, so we got 1/4 plus 1/4, or times 1/4 plus 5. Top times top, bottom times bottom. We got 1/16. And be careful that you don't mess that up. And then plus 5. So now we have 5 and 1/16. So it's nothing real like funny there, other than we're just doing math problems with different types of numbers by substituting them in. Okay. So in some ways, this is just more of the same of what we're doing. I'm just showing you a different way it looks with tables, right? Is a kind of different. It's called multiple representations, seeing it in different ways. Okay, and then the last one we got 0.2. So we got 0.2 to the second power. All right, plus 5. So 0.2 to the second power, 0.2 times 0.2 is, so we got a 4. However, 2 decimal places in the problem, 1, 2. So we need 2 in the answer. So that's going to be 0.04. All right, so 0.04. This is one where if you just do that in your head, you'll say 0.4. Wrong. It's 0.04. Okay. When you're doing the multiplying with decimals, it's how many are in the problem, decimal places, or how many in the answer. So 0.04 plus 5 is 5.04. Okay. All right. Give you a few seconds to catch up on your work there. Make it look like mine. Any questions on that as people are catching up? Okay. Again, I'm just wanting you to see the reason I'm having you do this on Nearpod today is I think that there's a lot of learning from this that's just a process of learning, right? It's learning a process. It's not so much that we're doing like a new math skill per se, it's just a math process of how to show it. Okay. Which also gives us an opportunity to keep working on some of this stuff a little more before we test on it. Basically, it's kind of what I'm up to here. All right. So we have here, maybe you go on ahead of me a little bit, see if you can't get this, how you do with this. So I have 12 plus 4, and then I got x plus 3. Okay. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and I might go ahead and write all of them on here. So I'm gonna put 12 plus 4, and then I got x is 5 this time. 5 plus 3. Then I got a 7. So 12 plus 4 times, and then we got 7 plus 3. Okay. And then we got 12 plus 4, and then we got 10 plus 3. All right. Now, on this, I would say beware of trying to do this without showing the work over on the side somewhere. Okay, that's not going to go well for most of y'all. Okay, so 12. So on the first one, I'm going to do 12 plus, and then 4, and then I'm just going to do what was in the parentheses. 0 plus 3 is 3. Okay. So I want you to just kind of see how I'm doing here. So now we got to be careful. That's not 12 plus 4 next. We got to multiply. Well, we got to multiply before we add. So 12 plus, then 4 times 3 is 12, which is 24. Okay. Questions on how I did that first? All right. See what you can get on the next couple of these, and then we'll go over. Okay. Yeah, those dots are not really helping you there. Whoever's got dots on their thing. Okay, I'll go back to mine so you can see what I got. So what you should be doing now is the version that I did with this where okay, now you're going to do 5 plus 3 is 8. So that should be on the next one when you show that work right here. Then this guy right here. So you see how we have the 12, the 4 times. Well, what I did there was I just did that parentheses right there. Okay, so then now this one's going to be an 8 right here. Why? Because that's 5 plus 3. Now you do the multiply, then you add. Okay. How did I get the answer? I did 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. So on this one now, we did 5 plus 3 is 8. Now you have to multiply, because multiply comes before add. Okay, so then that should give you this. Then 32 plus 12 is 44. Okay, see how y'all are doing here. Some of y'all getting it, some of you, I don't know what you're. Okay, now next one we got. And look, if you're just, not attempting it, then copying off of me. I mean, I guess in some level that's okay, but it's you're better off seeing if you're getting it, right? And then being like, oh, I see what I did. All right, 7 plus 3 is 10 right here. Okay, so I did that parentheses. So now 10 times 4 is 40. Notice we got to multiply before we add, and that's going to make that 52. All right, and then on the last one, we have that was a 10 for x. So we got 10 plus 3 is 13. Okay, so now on this one, we have 4 times 13. Okay, 4 times 13 is 52. 52 plus 12 is 64. Okay. Questions on that one? Okay, give you a few more seconds to get yourself caught up here. So like this is good. And that's good. Again, hopefully y'all see where I was doing a lot of the margin work, right? Where I'm looking for the answer in the chart here, but hopefully you saw all the other stuff I was doing over on the side to get to that point. Okay. That's really important. All right, about 5 more seconds here. Again, if you get yourself behind, remember that there's a student-paced version you can go back and fill out if you need to, okay, to get the credit. All right. All right, next one. I'm trying to remember what I got here. So we got 4 more of these. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, okay, how do I make that go away? Do you know how to make that go away? Nope. Not that way. That way. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna give you one with 2 fractions in it, and you're going to hate me, right? So, sorry. It's okay. I'm here to teach you, not to make you be like, yay, you're the best. All right, so 0, 1, 2, 8. All right, that's a 0. It looks crappy. Oh well. All right, now on that 0 one's gonna be pretty easy. When I give you a 0, you're like, oh yay, that's an easy one. Okay, so 3. We got 3/4 times 0 plus 1/2. All right, well, we know that anything times 0 is 0. 0 plus 1/2 is 1/2. Right? Anything plus 0 is just that number. All right, now this one's easy too. Okay, because 3/4 times 1, anything times 1 is just going to be that number, right? 3/4 times 1 is 3/4 plus 1/2. Okay, so the first part's easy because we know that's 3/4. Second part's not easy because now we got to do 3/4 plus 1/2. Okay, to add or subtract fractions, we have to have a common denominator. All right, so it's like the multiples. In this case, we can use 4. Okay, so I'm going to remind you here, this gives us a chance also to remember our adding and subtracting fractions rules. And you're like, yay, this is amazing. Okay, so times 2. So then that's going to be 5/4 right there. Okay, now 5/4 does not equal 1.25. I mean, it does, but that's not the correct work on this. Okay, so this is a fraction problem. So we need a fraction answer. So this is going to be 1. 4 times 1 is 4, and a remainder of 1. So that the something. All right, hold on a second. All right, so that's going to be 1 and 1/4. 1 and 1/4. Okay, so 5/4 equals 1 and 1/4. Okay, any questions on what I did with the fractions there? Okay, all right, next one, we got 2. And 2 is going to be much the same kind of thing here. Okay, in the sense that we got, we're going to have to mess around with some fraction stuff. All right, not really any harder. Okay, so we got, this time we're going to have, why do I keep going to that one? I don't know, because it's there. All right, so we got 3/4. And then this time, I'm going to have to erase this when I get down to the next one. I'm going to do it times 2. Then I'm going to add 1/2. Okay, so 3/4 times 2 over 1. Okay, so you could do it right in there, but it'll get messy. 3/4 times 2 over 1. All right, it's going to give us 6/4. Or if we simplify before we multiply, that becomes 1/2. So we have 3/2 here. Now that's actually really friendly for us, right? Because now we can do 3/2 plus 1/2, right? So 3/2, because you see the 1/2 that we got here, plus 1/2. 3/2 plus 1/2 gives us 4/2. And 4/2, 4 divided by, remember that means divided by, 4 divided by 2 is 2. Okay, so that one's just going to be 2. So that one actually turned out easier than the other one, even though you wouldn't expect it. Okay, any questions on that one? Because I'm going to have to erase it to do the last one because I'm doing it on Nearpod and it's hard to be very neat. Okay, all right. So yes, Mary, but remember what kind of problem this is. It's a fraction problem, so I want a fraction answer. Okay, so the whole number, then the fraction part. Okay, so we got 3/4 times, we're going to fill in the 8 right here. All right, now you could just do it like this. Go ahead and put the 8 over 1. I actually probably could do that. It's me. Okay, now we could do, okay, so we're multiplying. I'll come over here and write it just so you can see what I'm doing. 3/4 times 8 over 1, right? Okay, now I prefer simplifying before I multiply. So divide that by 4, and that's 1. And it did that thing again. Stop. No, no, no. See when it does that? Go away. It doesn't like me. And now it's not even going away. Oh, did you see that? It didn't even go away. Huh? Yeah, that was super annoying. All right, so divide these by 4. That's gonna be 1. That's gonna be 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And 6 plus 1/2 gives us 6 and 1/2, not 6.5, even though that's the same thing. All right. Oh yeah, yes, I will. Not while I'm teaching right now, though. Okay. So that's the last slide on this one. All right. To make sure you got caught up on that. Any questions on that one? All right. I don't have one of those on here today, Lorraine. Because I had a bunch of different types I wanted to go through here. All right, I just want to see what I've got here. Oh yes, I remember what I'm doing with this. I even remember why I have that there. All right. So I actually only have one more that we're going to be doodling on before we get to just a couple others. Yeah, great. What's your question?
So whenever I was doing the last problem on the last slide, I got 12 and 1/4. Would that technically be equal to 6 and 1/2?
No. So
No.
let me see what you got here. Okay, hold on. We're on this slide right here. So did you do, when you did 3/4 times 8, what'd you get?
24/4.
Okay, so 24/4. Remember that the bar right there means divide. Okay, so 24 divided by 4 is 6.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
that's where I think when you went from there and you were right at that point, but then when you tried to work with that, that's what leads to more mistakes
I think
instead of
I simplify yeah, I simplified it to 12 over 2, not 6.
yeah. So 12 over 2 again is would simplify one more time to 6 over 1. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So you were on the right track. I just think go ahead and simplify it down to 6, and that makes it easier to not mess up at the last second. All right. Okay, one more of these, and then we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you some kind of alternate versions of problems you might see. Okay, not so much that I'm gonna ask you the alternate type on a test this year, but this is just a I don't know, in case your map test or your SC ready test asks you something of this type. I'm trying to prepare you for possibilities. Okay, this is the wrong rule right here. That should say 2.25 x minus 1.375. Okay. And you're like, why did you do such an annoying one? Because now this one, I actually did not mean to do a 0 right here. I don't know why I did a 0 there. So I'm going to ignore that line. That was dumb. I didn't mean to do that. I actually don't even think I thought through that. You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I want to do. I want to change this to plus, just because this is going to make it way more complicated than it needs to be. All right. I had reasons why I was going to do that, but I did not think through. I should have made this like 3.25. So let's just change this one to plus for right now. Okay. Then that will make it where we can do this one easily. Okay. So now we got 2.25. Because what I'm trying to do here, if you'll pick up on it, is I'm trying to work on our fractions, decimals, and our substitution stuff at the same time. And I just goofed on that because that would give us a negative one. All right, so this times 0 is 0, meaning that the answer is 1.375. Okay, that's a piece of cake, right? Because anything times 0 is 0, then it's just whatever that other number is. The same is going to be true in a sense on 1. So check this one out right here. So I'm going to go down to the 1. All right. I'm just kind of showing you strategies I would work with here. Because if you think about it, anything times 1 is just that number, right? Some of these properties and numbers help us out here, because then that just becomes 2.25. Then 2.25, right? We just got to do that times or plus 1.375. Okay, so watch. If you have ever had a trouble with decimals, notice I lined up my decimal when I add or subtract. Okay, then I can put an extra 0 over there, which would matter a lot more if we were subtracting, which is why I was going to subtract instead, but I didn't want negative numbers. So then that's going to be 3.625. Okay. All right. Any questions on that one? I think I'm going to stop there on this one because the idea is the same on those. It's just that it's going to take a while to show the work, and I want to make sure I wrap it up pretty quickly here. Okay. So I'm just looking for, do you have those two done on this slide? As long as you got these two done, I'm cool with that. Okay. Okay. This person over here, that's not actually the slide that I had on there. So what I had on this one was this one. Okay. So I want to see these two on your slide. If you're following along with me, the point of us doing the Nearpod is that you're following along in class. Okay. So if you did the one that I accidentally put on there, that's no good. You need to do the one I did. Okay. Any questions on that one? Somebody over here who's not got it right. All right. I mean, it's like I'm giving free points out, right? Of doing the work, and then some of y'all still don't take it. I don't know. I just don't understand. But okay. Now I got just a couple of quick ones I want to show you here. You don't have to write. You don't have to write on this one. All right. If you actually think you can, you know it, then write it on there real quick. What do you think the rule is or the expression? What's happening to go from X to Y? What are we doing to each one of those? So I'm saying, what is the part that needs to go right here? Okay, so write it on yours. What do you think goes right there? What are we doing to each x? That's what I want to know right there. Give it a shot. So in other words, are we doing 3x, like 3 times each x? Are we doing 5 times each x? Are we doing x plus 4? Are we dividing our x's by 5? What are we doing here? That's what I'm asking. So you're just writing an expression right here. Okay. Yeah, I see some people getting it now. I just want the original expressions. All I'm wanting to see if you get. All right. So what I'm getting at here is to get from the x's to the y's, what might have thrown some of you off is the 0 line, right? Well, look at the x line. 4. To get to 24, what do we do? 4 times 6, right? Okay. So it's 4 times 6. And this would be 7 times 6 is 42. Sorry, I should have written that the other way. Right? So 6 and then 4 is the x. 6, 7 is the x is 42. 6, then 8 is the x is 48, which means that the answer must be 6x. Okay? Everybody see where I got that from? You're taking all the x's and you're doing them times 6, right? That's the rule. Okay, so that could look like 6x. It could look like x times 6. Usually it's going to look like this, even though if you did this right here, that's still the same thing. All right. Now, this one's kind of funny because now look, so I would look at this line and this line would be the ones I would look at if I was you. Okay, see if you can figure out what the rule is here. What is the rule here? And I will give you a hint. This is one on the quiz on last Friday. A whole bunch of you missed one that was similar to this. What are we doing to the x's here? So we got 6. How are we getting from 6 to 2? We're dividing by 3. See who had that. Okay, yeah, got 1 or 2. You did. All right, so here's what I'm saying. So we have 6 divided by 3 is 2. We have 15 divided by 3 is 5. And we have 39 divided by 3 is 13. So that's going to be 0 divided by 3 is 0. Okay. And then the rule would then be x divided by 3. Now, I will tell you this. There's another way of saying that. You could do 1/3 times x. Okay. So this is the same thing as x divided by 3. Okay. Now, why? I realized that should show you why. Watch this. If I do 1/3 times x, remember that you can put anything over 1, right? 1 times x is 1x, or just plain x, right? 3 times 1 is 3. So that's the reason 1/3 x is the same thing as x divided by 3. 1/2 x is the same as x divided by 2, and so forth. Okay? All right. I think that's wrapping it up here. I got one more here. This one's a weird one, and I just wanted to show you. And we were out of slides I could annotate anyway. So check this one out. So I'm gonna put some. Come on, annotate. Where you at? There you go. All right. So I'm gonna take this one, and where you say, okay, it's not just times 5. This is not just times. I mean, what is this? Well, what's happening here is the trick is you see the 0. Well, it sounds like I added 2 to something, doesn't it? Because, I mean, 0 times whatever, then plus 2. So what could I do right here? So if I think backwards, 5 minus 2 is 3, right? So I wonder if I could do 3 times 1 plus 2, that's 5. So if this is plus, if I got a plus 2 here, 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay. So then how do I get from here to here? Right. So that one was actually supposed to, I'm not sure that I put the one I meant to. That was supposed to be 8 right there. Sorry. Okay. 8 minus 2 is 6. And then it should have been 3 times 2. Okay. I meant to put that one right there. You'll see why on this one. Okay. So this was 17 minus 2 is 15. So then if I go 3 times x, which is 5, then that's 15 plus 2 is 17. So notice I went kind of backwards and undoing it. I was like, well, if I subtract 2, then I'll get back to 0. Then I can figure it out because that'll be 3 times 0. Okay, so then this one is a little harder than I'm probably going to give you in 6th grade, but that would be 3x plus 2. I just kind of wanted to show you how you would get from this back to that expression right there. All right. Which can help a lot of y'all who are like higher on map tests and things like that. That's a particular kind of skill you might run into is one more like that. Okay. And I always want to be challenging you guys as well. All right. So that being said, I think that's might be the last one here. So just to kind of wrap it up. So today and tomorrow's practice is going to be different ways of working with these skills. All right. And I showed you how I want the work shown. Okay. Wednesday, we'll review in class for the Unit 4 test. And then Wednesday, there won't be additional practice. So Monday and Tuesday, we have practice you have to turn in. Right. And then Wednesday, we'll just review in class. Thursday, we have Unit 4 test. And then you got to make sure you do 30 more minutes of liftoff for the week. So if you're behind on that, this be a good week to catch up on that. Okay. Because there's maybe a few less assignments than normal. Okay. So make sure you get that practice turned in for today and tomorrow. Check over your grades, see any of my feedback, and let me know if you got questions during target time. All right. See y'all later. Bye.